following podcast is being brought to you by the Defy Life Podcast Network.
This week on the Defy Life Podcast, the guys introduce a new member of the Defy Life Podcast family. We talk Marshawn Lynch's foul mouth, more mass shootings, and as always, we answer some listener questions and wrap things up with some trivia. All that and more. Let's get to it. Yeah, that's what it is. I guess we gotta do it then. You alright? Chill, pool, out, money, West Coast. Let's get it. Strap in, let's take a ride. Oh yeah, it's about that time, right? Been waiting all week to get to this. It's finally time to defy life. Let's chop it up, keep it real, no other way. That's what we do. We might disagree, but it's all love. Guarantee we gon' speak the truth. Yeah, this hit different. My guys with me, now who's with us? Stick around for a few minutes. It's contagious. You'll get it. You downloaded the realest. Don't feel us, forget out. You not rocking with Defy Life, then what's your life about? This ain't Defy Life. This is Defy Life. I'm gonna let this ride out though. Welcome back to the Defy Life Podcast, powered by the Defy Life Podcast Network. This episode is sponsored by Bud Bottles, home of the Bud Bottle and the Bud Freshener. Please visit budbottles.com for your odor eliminating needs. Thank you for listening. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, GoDefyLife.com, and everywhere your favorite podcasts are available. As always, we encourage you to like, subscribe, and give us a 5-star rating whenever you listen. You can also find us on all social media platforms at Go Defy Life. This is episode 119, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, J.R. Glymph, joined as always by my wonderful co-host, Thomas Stevens, Gerald Hedrick, West Coast Jay. How's it going today, Pooh?
Man, I can't call it. It's going wonderful. Can't complain. I love it, man. It's almost football time. I got a little extra pep in my step, you know, a little bounce in my walk. But you know what's good, man? How you guys doing?
Good, man. Good. Money, what's good with you, man?
Yo. Make sure I'm off mute. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
All right, man. You already know it's 2 for Tuesdays, and it's Mr. Real himself. The Real is back. Doing pretty good, man. Can't complain. Playing a little fantasy baseball right now. Hoping to win a few bucks. How are y'all?
Good, man. Good. Can't complain. It's good to hear you gentlemen's voices. West Coast Jay, what's goody?
All right, too much. Over here chilling like a fan of the breeze. You already know.
Yep.
Sitting here and enjoying my opening Madden weekend.
No doubt. How's that going?
A little ridiculous, but great fun nonetheless.
All right. Well, we'll dig into that soon. Shout out to Al. Al can't be with us tonight. He's celebrating his 75th wedding anniversary. So shout out to Al though. We're gonna represent for you, but enjoy your anniversary and your daughter coming home from South Africa. So I know you're happy for that. So we'll catch you on the rebound, Al. Enjoy it. We're gonna talk some shit about you later, so stay tuned. Yeah, man. So before we get into the meat of the show, we do have a special guest tonight. So before we get to that, I just want to, as usual, do a little bit of house cleaning before we get into the meat of the show and speak to our guest. First of all, we got some new patrons for the week. Keisha Glymph, my sister, jumped out there as a patron. So thanks, Key. You still ain't sent me your request for what shirt you want. I guess you want to ride this train for free, but that's cool. Brittany W. also signed up as a patron. Salute to you. And Monique Pearson, salute to you as well. Thank you all for your support. We do this because of you, and we couldn't do it if it weren't for you. So thank you all for your support. And if you want to become a patron of Defy Life, visit us at patreon.com/Go Defy Life. Also, a couple quick reminders. Next week will be our NFL preview show. So it'll be us and a bunch of other voices on here talking NFL previews. So we'll get some Super Bowl predictions, playoff, division champs, MVP, individual awards, all that stuff, and some unpopular opinions heading into the season. So it's going to be a fun one. And also, if you haven't yet, or if you have and you want to do it again, go check out DefyLifeGear.com. Get all your merchandise, your Defy Life merchandise, or your podcaster gear if you want to represent a particular show. And be on the lookout for this fall line about to drop. We got some dope designs, and it's back to school time. So go check out the new Defy Life book bags. They fire. Ooh. Check them out.
Ooh. Man. Hey, I gotta get them all. If y'all hadn't seen them book bags, they're crazy. Hey, Jay, boy, you a fool for them.
Man, I told you, man, it made me want to go back to school. I was about to show up as a 5th grader and be like, hey, y'all like my new book bag? But yeah. So y'all definitely check those out. But yeah, man, we're gonna go ahead and jump into our guests. We have Simba from the newest show on the Defy Life Podcast Network. He'll be first episode will be dropping in a couple weeks. So we will get him on the line. We will be right back. All right, everybody. Again, we are ready to speak with our special guest. We have a new family member on the Defy Life Podcast Network, and we are honored to have him on. This is actually the first time his voice will be heard on the network, so I'm honored, man. It's the flagship show of the network. We get to speak to Mr. Simba Jackson first, the host of the Best Man Podcast. How's it going today, Simba?
Yes. What's going on, y'all? Best Man Pod, this your man Simba. We're back in this thing. One more time, bro. What's happening?
Yeah, nothing, man. Everything's good. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, it's all love. I appreciate y'all giving me this opportunity.
Hey, man.
I'm ready to grow this thing.
Hey, absolutely. So, first of all, welcome to the family. We like to keep it family around here, so we excited to have you. Guys, I want to ask my co-host a question first before we get into the meat of your subject.
All good.
Thomas Stevens.
What's good?
What would be, if you had to give Simba one piece of what to look out for as a member of the Defy Life family, what would that be?
Wow.
See how I throw up stuff to y'all? Ain't nobody prepped. Damn.
Oh, wow. My antenna's up right now.
What to look out for is wow. Straight off the top, first thing, just the non-believers, because you know when you're dealing with things and you're getting things off the ground and you believe in it, and people that know you just look at it as just a hobby or it's just something that he's doing. However, you have a bigger purpose for that. You know, you have a meaning for that. So just look out for the non-believers.
Yeah, appreciate that.
That's dope.
No doubt. Money, question for you.
Yeah.
If you had to tell Simba who would be his rival for the most popular guest on the network, most popular host on the network, who would that be?
Ooh. Well, Simba, I'm the star of this show.
Talk about it.
I don't know if it's no rivals over here, but
I'm good. I just gotta look out for you.
But I don't know, man. I love our host. So everyone's got their own flavor. Dude, the network covers so much, so many categories and so much content, and everybody has their own special way, man. Like, I'm actually sure you're gonna get to be on everybody's show. But if you had to get a rival, man, just because he ain't here and he got the nickname Narcissist Number 1, I'm gonna go with Al. Al from this show.
Just throwing Al out there.
Let me just throw Al out there because he ain't here to defend himself.
I'm looking for you. Al, what's up?
Al might have to show up on your show and sit on the couch, man, because Al, again, he is narcissist number one. It's just,
he needs some friend therapy.
Yeah, man. So, last question to you, West Coast Jay.
Yes, sir.
So when it is time for the next round of the Trivia Battleground, outside of yourself, who should Simba be looking out for? Who's his biggest competition? And Simba, I'll explain the Trivia Battleground if you're not familiar with it. But West Coast Jay, who's his biggest competition outside of yourself?
I mean, obviously outside of myself, the only answer to that is probably the answer to all three of these questions.
Mm-hmm.
It's the immortal ladies at Lynn and Kim. Mm. You don't want to get on their bad side to answer the first question. They're going to talk cash, any kind of way shit to you to answer the second question. And the third question is, it's two of them, so they always going to be a problem.
The tag team. Right. The handicap match.
Yeah.
Like, they're always going to be a problem.
Yeah. So, Simba, we do, about once a quarter, we'll do just a Royal Rumble of trivia. So every host from a host from every show outside of Lynn and Kim, they get to come on as a duo. But we do a trivia tournament, and the winner of trivia gets of course you get a Defy Life gear package of your choice, and most of all you get bragging rights. So it's pretty fun. So we do
the bragging rights is what we all do it for. Right?
Absolutely, yeah.
That is specifically what I did it for.
Just making sure I chose the right team.
Yeah. So yeah,
that's specifically what I did it for.
Yeah. So West Coast Jay was the champion of season 1, and Lynn and Kim ungraciously came in and knocked him off his perch and took his title this last season. So yeah, that makes sense, West Coast Jay. So can't wait to have you on. How are your trivia skills? I mean?
What am I trying to do? What questions am I answering?
See, now that's the fun part.
Shit.
I mean, it could be Game of Thrones. It could be 90s hip hop. It could be NBA history. It could be the Lost Scrolls. Black superheroes. Anyway.
Simba, I'm gonna give you an example. So the scoring scale is from 1 to 5. The questions, like you could get a certain amount of points for one question, certain amount of points for the next question. The theme is the lower tiered points are the easier questions. The higher tiered points are the harder questions. So I'm gonna give you an example of a question for the lower points coming from either West Coast Jay or regular Scott. So I'll get. So this is supposed to be the easy question. Name me actually no, it won't even be like it'll be something like on the show Game of Thrones.
I'm already out. Robb Stark is a key character on the show Game of Thrones. The guy that designed his character, what color shirt was he wearing on Tuesday?
Yeah, that's like a 2.
Nah.
That's like a 2.
What you will find, Simba, is that when people don't know stuff, they like to say it's hard. Like we can literally ask.
Must be a phone.
Right, yeah. Like we can literally ask, hey, what's 6 + 4? And somebody gonna say 13 and get mad at us. Man, that shit too hard.
9?
Right. That shit too hard. You know my math teacher was slow. So yeah. So
the math teacher or you?
Right, exactly. So it's fun, and it's a lot of shit talking, but it's a lot of camaraderie. It's a way to hear a lot of voices together that you don't usually get to hear together. So we'll definitely get you in on the next one.
Now the shit talking is what I do.
Yeah.
What I'm great at.
Okay.
I may not know trivia, but I know how to talk to you.
Hey, and that's
the
main
high level shit talkery.
Man, I'm a number 5 at the shit talking.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about.
Hey, well, you'll fit in right at home then.
Oh man. Well, enough about our fuckery that goes on around here. Tell us about your show. Tell the people about yourself, and what can they expect from you once your show drops.
Well, the diagnosis is a cultivation of maybe a year and a half just workshopping a show and just trying to tinker with it to make it something that I would be proud of. And it's gone through many changes since it started, but the one thing that stayed the same was the intent on healing. And a lot of the time we don't have anybody to talk to. And for me, I've always been that friend to listen. I've always been the person that gives advice, always been the person that everybody ran to when they were feeling down. I'm like, why don't I just make this into a podcast? Let people come talk to me, come sit down, let's talk it out. Because a lot of the time, that's all people want is somebody to listen to them. Right. And if you know me, you got my number for free, so you don't gotta pay that copay or whatever. Come sit on my couch and we could talk it out right here, and then hopefully your story will help somebody else.
No doubt.
That's what it do. It's therapy. Got it.
That's all it really.
Yeah,
I get something from it. They get something from it. It's beneficial. That's why I call it the friend therapy.
Absolutely. So you
and what we do is best man. I say best man pod because when we do that healing, we become each other's best medicine. And then we get to heal the world with it. So we all are the best medicine while taking the best medicine, which is that friendship, which is that laughter, which is that joy after strife. Absolutely.
And that's something that's increasingly rare amongst our people, amongst each other.
Definitely.
You know, it pains me when I see a brother walk by me mean mugging and won't speak, or it pains me when I see a sister that won't tell a brother thank you for holding the door. Like, let's be happier with each other. So I definitely applaud your efforts, man. That's dope.
Love, appreciate that.
No doubt. Well, before we let you go, man, I got one question for you. Well, I got one question. I don't know what else everybody else got, but my last question for you. So we started this Defy Life thing just as a way to encourage ourselves and others to overcome everything life throws at you. So life is going to throw you pain. Life's going to throw you joy. Life is going to throw you beautiful women. Life's going to throw you ugly situations. Life's going to throw you a lot of stuff. But at all points, you have to find a way to overcome that. How do you defy life?
Through my healing. I make sure that all that negative gets trampled by positivity. Right. One thing that one of my homies said a long time ago, he was like, no matter how much pain that you've gone through in your life, you've always had a great attitude. And that's what I preach, is like you have to make sure that darkness, that it never clouds your judgment, it never clouds that mind to a place where you can't show love.
Word.
I'm about service and I'm about love. The two pillars of my podcast is honesty and vulnerability. If you can't have those two things with me, you can't be on the show.
Absolutely. Yeah. Those should be pillars to life, to everyone.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Man. Fellas, y'all got anything for Simba before we let him go?
Nah, that was dope. That was dope. I guess I have to check it out a little more so I can ask you a little bit about that cipher down there.
We always got a cipher going.
Yeah, I heard about it. I heard about that. That's some good stuff, man. I would love to get a little video on that. If I could.
What kind of cipher?
So which one did you see?
I didn't see it. Like I said, Tessie was, she was telling me about it, and she told me that she was gonna have some footage for me. So I haven't seen anything yet.
Oh yeah, I am the man with all the footage. Yeah. So what I've been doing, before I get out of here, what I've been doing is, going out into the community and going to these different events and just taking pictures and recording the moments. I have a photography business, Simba's Candid Captures. where I go to different events and I capture those moments of honesty and vulnerability. Really, is just I capture those moments after the pose. You know, those moments like when they break character from posing, and like I hate pose pictures. I hate put upon pictures. So I have these just snapshots of just pure joy that radiates every time I look at them. And I've been doing that, and I've been doing that for free, just to one, get my name out there, and two, to just serve my community. Like, yo, I have skills with this photography, with this camera. I'm blessed to have this camera. Let me bless y'all. So we do Second Mondays on Instagram. We do the I Bloom on Instagram. We do Speak on It. It's a spoken word event. A host of events. And yeah, we're really cultivating a new renaissance.
Awesome, that is dope.
You know,
that's what it do.
No doubt. And feel free to share any of
I
that
remember
stuff
where you stay at.
on the website.
I'm in Oakland.
You in the that's what it do. Yeah. No, I'm from the Scout, baby. That's what I'm asking.
Oh, okay, yeah, from the town there, yeah.
That's what it do.
Y'all see
So
how
yeah, you know how we get
language?
down. You know the culture. You know the artistry out here.
You already know.
I don't know what they just said, Jay.
Yeah, I don't know where they from. I don't know where they from. They from somewhere.
Pippin, don't
Right.
worry about it. You know that holler.
Right. We're just, yeah.
You got them shoes. Hey, you got them shoes.
Right.
Yeah, I got it.
I just stick with West Coast. How about that?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
that's a big boy talking real big talk over there.
Right. Nah, man, it's dope.
Real big talk from the soil out there.
I'm taking pleasure listening to y'all. Yo, it's crazy. Like I met E40 once, and like really just in the probably 12 seconds of that conversation of meeting E40. I was lost. I spent the rest of my day.
Right?
Yeah, I spent the rest of my day trying to get out of these cobwebs. I was done.
That's big spit.
No doubt. Oh man, Simba, man, it's been a pleasure. This won't be the last time. We'll definitely have you back on, man. But again, man, welcome to the family. Welcome to the network. We cannot be more excited to have you and see what we can do to continue to grow this thing, man.
Beautiful. Everything that y'all doing, I'm 100,000% with y'all, man.
No doubt.
Sure.
No doubt.
So Best Med Pod on Instagram, BESTMEDPOD on Instagram, Simba_Jackson, SIMBA_JAXN, Simba Jackson on Instagram. Check me out. I'm about the community. If you have anything to want to talk about, please be my guest. Hit me in my DMs and let me know what you have going. We can schedule something and schedule a minute to talk and have that friend therapy, even if it's for 5 minutes, man. I just want, if you need somebody to talk to, I'm here. My phone number, I have my phone number on my IG page and everything. I'm real.
That's what's
No
up.
doubt. Absolutely. And I didn't even have to ask him to give his info. Most folks come on and be like, man, tell them where they can find you. The man already knew I was
y'all going to find me.
That's what I'm talking about. All right. Well, Simba, man, appreciate it again, man. We'll talk to you soon, and can't wait to hear. And first of all, the 3 episodes we've already previewed on the site, people are loving it, so they can't wait to hear more. Neither can we, man.
Beautiful.
Much love, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Love.
Peace.
That was fly.
Again, that was Mr. Simba Jackson, the host of The Diagnosis, the Best Med podcast. Again, the newest family member of the Defy Life Podcast Network. Can't wait to check out his stuff. So he's you heard him here first. You'll hear him also on relationship status with CL and Neek and Yusuf. You also hear him on Anything, Everything, and Nothing with Lynn and Kim, making his rounds before his debut. So be on the lookout for him. But we were definitely honored to have him here first.
Yes, sir.
You heard it here first, pimpin'.
No doubt. All right, so we're going to get into these news tidbits. Speaking of West Coast dudes.
Speaking of big boys from the town.
You know, Marshawn Lynch. Not sure if y'all saw it. Got into an argument with a mom of one of his camp goers. I think she was the mom of a 10-year-old camp attendee for Marshawn cursing at the players at his football camp. Did y'all see the video?
I peeped it. Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't see him cursing, but I saw the videos of the aftermath. I couldn't find that one.
No.
Yeah, so that was the video was him coming up the steps with the mom after it happened, and he was explaining to her, why he speaks to the kids that way and why he doesn't think it's that big of a deal, and also asking, "Is there a man with you?" A lot of people took offense to that, of him asking for a man to speak with. Money, you first. First off, do you think he's out of line for cursing at the kids at his camp?
I guess a West Coast or not, but I was gonna say, I was the guy on the show that doesn't have any children, but I guess West Coast. But
Yep.
I can't say. It's coaching. I mean. We all play sports, so our coaches said things that, like, you didn't. I never even heard the curse words, so I don't know if the kids today are a little more sensitive or they're a little more aware of what's going on. But I get your ass up, move. I never heard that. I just heard what I needed to do. Mm-hmm. But I get it. This isn't 15 years ago, 20 years ago. Times have changed. Everyone's a little more delicate, a little more lighthearted. So I definitely get it. So I can't say whether he was wrong or not. I can't say I can say that I see both sides of the argument. I mean, he out there dropping F bombs on the kids, and so I get it. But I mean, I've probably heard worse.
Okay. Do you think he was out of line for asking to speak to a man?
Also, I think he may have been a little out of line there. He may have been I think that I see why he would do it, but he may have been a little out of line there. There may or may not have been a father figure or a man involved. There may very well. Could have been he's just at work or whatever the case may be. I think that's a personal question, but at the same token, kind of looking at it from the coach's perspective, of there are a lot of times where in certain scenarios, people in the public eye, isn't Marshawn Lynch the guy that he doesn't take pictures with women and allow them to touch him and like this little things, like isn't that him or is that somebody else?
I think he's one of them. I've heard of a few guys that do that, but I think he does do that as well.
Yeah, I think he is one of the guys that do that. I think he's just so conscientious of like his environment and like he doesn't ever want to be accused of handling I guess a woman the wrong way or whatever the case may be. I think that question may have stemmed more from how he handles dealing with people in the public eye versus like him actually kind of bashing on her, like, is there a man around type of deal. Right. I just think he has that way of dealing with people in general. So it helps him kind of stay out of trouble and things like that. So I knowing Marshawn Lynch and the things about him that I have read and not know because I don't know him personally, but knowing the things that I've read about him, about how he deals with people, I think that was more of a intent from that place than the other place.
No doubt. Now, Pooh, what do you think? How do you feel about him cursing at the kids and asking to speak to a man?
Well, man, all of us definitely grew up on it, and personally, I really, I don't want you really, spazzing and cursing on my son. I don't. However, I mean, I do get it as well. Their coaches have different coaching styles. I coached, for years, and I wasn't the type that cursed, but I wasn't, torn or totally against the ones that did curse. I mean, people have their own coaching style, so. I mean, so I didn't see it as being, horrific or, sinister as I guess it was made out to be. And the portion of asking her, is there a man, is there a man I could speak to? I didn't think he was being a bigot or anything like that. I just figured that he would rather speak to a gentleman because you would figure that a guy's more in tune with sports. I guess that's kind of a, pig-headed way to think, but you would think that a man would understand because he could have been out there playing ball or he understands the macho way of talking. So I guess I could see why he said that, and I wasn't. I mean, I watched the video, and it didn't seem anything farce or anything malicious with it. I didn't see anything wrong with it.
No doubt. West Coast, what say you?
No, I got a couple corrections off top. Beast Mode only takes pictures with women and children. He does not take pictures with men.
Oh, okay.
There's a sign at the Beast Mode store in Oakland that says Beast Mode don't take pics with men with like 15 exclamation points.
Gotcha. No doubt.
And when they do, hey man, can I get a pic? He really does refer them to the sign.
Nice.
But past that, where I think he was coming from with the "is there a man with you" is a lot like Pooh just said. I don't think that he felt like he could explain what he was trying to do adequately to her.
Right.
Like, I don't even think it's all women. I think it was to her. Because when we catch the video, he's already been walking and talking to her for a while. Mm-hmm. Like, by the time they get to the top of the stairs, then he's just explaining, this is look, I'm gonna talk to anybody that way. Like, that's just, I cuss a lot. Like, it is what it is. It's how this is what it is. If I see a kid, there's one kid that's out there that's not participating, yeah, I'm gonna tell him to get the fuck out my drill.
Right. Now, there was a second mom who was off camera. He also asked her to speak to a man. So
yes, he did.
Yeah.
And she just sort of side busted, came out of nowhere on him.
Right.
Like he was like she sort of from the way that it appeared, at the very least from the video angle, it appeared that she just was trying to also, I guess, support the lady.
She wanted some action, boss. And
she was there was a camera on. Everybody wants their 15 minutes at this point. So she hopped in too. No, you know what? I'm gonna take my son out too. And he said the simplest thing to her, like, look, if one kid's not participating, there's 100 of them out there as well. I can't please everybody. Yeah. So yeah, if he's not participating, yes, he is taking a spot from somebody that wants to participate. He can leave. He can get the fuck out of my drill.
Right. Yeah.
And so I think,
yeah,
just point blank, period. And like I said, I think what he was trying, when he asked if there was a man with him, like, I don't even think it was as deep as, does this kid have a man in his life?
Nah.
I think it was as simple as, it's hard for me to explain this to you, lady. I've been trying for hella minutes.
Right.
Yeah. And
like,
I think,
is there a dude here so I could try and explain it to him so he can explain it to you?
Yeah, and I think it may have been as deep as he knew he was on camera, and he knows how that can be taken from how the optics are with a man arguing with a woman in public.
Precisely. Like, even when you look at the camera, like, one of the things that happened, I was watching it, and I was on the phone with my dad, interestingly enough, and I was watching it and laughing about it and talking, and when I say laughing about it, it was because, like, my dad loves Beast Mode too, like, it is what it is. And so, but I had it on pause, and right where I paused it, it looked like he was pleading with the lady. Mm-hmm. Like, it didn't match the audio almost at all. It was just like, oh, your body language just said, like, he was uncomfortable having that kind of conversation with a lady. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, that's really what it looked like to me from a amateur people watcher perspective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he was he was not trying to. I don't think he was trying to belittle her or anything along those lines. I think it was just he was uncomfortable having a conversation on video that looked like they were arguing with a lady.
Yeah,
without a man around.
Right. Now, to his detriment, what I will say is that if you know that your style can be abrasive and you know that it's not for everyone, you may need to gather those parents beforehand and let them know what to expect. One thing I do appreciate about my son's coach is he gathered all the parents before the first practice and said, look, if your son drops a ball, he misses a tackle, I'm going to get pissed off. That's the nature of this business. And I might throw my hat on the ground. I might say, damn, come on. But I'm never going to disrespect your child. All right? And so if you know that your style can be abrasive and you know that you're a bit aggressive and you know, shit, if you know you Marshawn Lynch, you may want to make that known up front.
Right.
All right? I don't have a problem with it because while it's not necessary, like Pooh said, all coaches have their own style. And not only that, each kid has their own way of being motivated. Some kids need a pat on the back. Some kids need a kick in the ass. Some kids need a good cussing out to get motivated. But you have to be able to read that, and if you're signing your kid up for a camp or on a team, you have to be able to trust that coach or that instructor knows how to read that kid and get the best out of him. And
right.
So I think it's definitely a two-way street. I don't think he should be drugged through the mud for trying to motivate a kid to get the best out of him. And sometimes you do overstep those boundaries while learning a child. Shit, we do it with our own kids. Sometimes you have to learn. You do it with people in general. You learn people, and sometimes you cross a boundary. You make a mistake while learning that person. So I don't fault him for trying to get the best out of a kid. I also don't fault him for not putting himself in a bad situation by arguing with a woman in public. And shit, if we're gonna be real, we know how bad it looks optically when it's a big black dude arguing with a white lady. So
right.
Straight up.
So, I can't fault him for asking for a man to have a contentious conversation with. That's perfectly natural. Right? So, I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you.
I don't even think he was trying to belittle her, trying to put women down or anything along those lines. It was just straight up like, I'm on camera, this look wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Straight up.
Right. Absolutely. So, I don't know, man. But outside of all that, we all know how much he does in the community, how much he does with his camps. So kudos to him for being, Marshawn's one of the realest dudes that we've seen in sports. Ever.
Yeah.
And so he is never going to mince words. He's never going to try to make it sound pretty. He's going to be who he is while he does his thing and helps those kids and help people in general out in the community. So shout out to him for doing something and taking action, whether people agree with it or not.
Hey, no doubt. If you hear the show, Marshawn, we'd love to have you on the show.
No doubt.
Absolutely.
Beast mode, man. I love beast mode.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. On to another topic. We've talked about this before because it never stops in this country, it appears. In the last week, we've had 2 mass shootings. Within the time span of those 2 mass shootings, it was the deadliest. It was the deadliest time in the U.S. for mass shootings in 98 years. Think about it. So it's always hard to know when you are, like, what part you play in history in the midst of it. Right. So it's always easy to go back and look like, wow, that was historical. But like when you're in it, it's hard to realize how historical that moment is. And so to be alive in this country at a time when we've had the deadliest span of mass shootings in damn near a century, that's painful to think about. and I know, we can go on for days about, gun control, or we can go on for days about mental illness or racism and white supremacy. We can go on for days about that. But what I want to talk about is, I saw a quote by Shaun King, who said that if you ever wanted to know who you would have been during the civil rights movement, think about what you're doing now. That's who you would have been, right? So individually, I want to know, West Coast, starting with you, what can we do? Or what can you do as an individual to not necessarily stop these things from happening, but to make it the best environment in your immediate surroundings as you can?
Well, that's a great question. The first thing that comes to mind is make sure that there's always an open dialogue. There's always a conversation. There's always, actually, like Simba was saying, there's always a way for somebody, if you're hurting, get it out. There's a lot like what he said. I tend to be that person for my friends as well. Like, I'm the person that when they actually have a problem, they come to and lay it all out. Mostly because I listen a bunch, but also because you got to get it out. Otherwise, it manifests itself as a health problem. Like the open dialogue is the key. People being able to communicate, people being able to get, if there is something actually wrong, they need to be able to have a place that's safe for them to express what's wrong and try and work towards getting it fixed, as opposed to just let it build up and build up and build up until they've gotten to the point where it's a breaking point, and now all they think that they can do is rage. Like, that part is that's probably the saddest part, is that there was a couple of them. Like, there was at least, I think there were 4 mass shootings over the weekend. You had El Paso, Dayton. There was one in Brooklyn.
Right.
And then Gilroy, California.
Right. Yeah.
So
over a 9-day
just
period.
Over the weekend.
Well,
Right.
Did you guys see there's something circulating on Instagram about, I guess the plan is to go into all these Walmarts and this could very well be a rumor, but there's something circulating on Instagram about people planning on going to Walmarts and doing these mass shootings.
Yeah, that's the scary part, is that this is not the end of it. Because, I mean, just as these guys have done what they've done, there are more guys in their mom's basement who are planning the same kind of shit as we speak.
Yeah. Like, it's sad. It is. It's the saddest. I guess sad is sad is a complete understatement. Yeah. But there's the problem more so than anything else is that there's so many people in the country to start. Like, 300 million people is a lot of people. So even if 0.1% of them is one of these dudes, right, or is one of these people, then we're still looking at a high number of people.
Yeah.
Like, it's the numbers themselves just speak to the fact that there's gonna be a lot of illness, a lot of sadness, a lot of rage, a lot of depression, a lot of acting out.
Yeah, I don't know. So, Pooh, like, you work with kids every day. Like, people say, like, first of all, like, I think the mental illness tag gets thrown out far too often to kind of, it's a lazy way of covering or explaining things. But how hard is it to notice, like, those signs in kids that are troubled to the point that they may be dangerous to society?
It's not that. I don't think it's extremely difficult to notice if you're looking. Because a lot of kids just, they almost blend in, and they act the same, or some can get lost in the cracks and the crevices with the way others act. So, and it almost make them minute, because they're so small with the other, all the other action that's going on out there. And those are the ones that we don't see, because we put so much attention to the ones that's running around and fighting and smoking weed in the hallways, and it's that one that walks around completely quiet, plan A, plan B. You might see him, crying in the hallway. You speak with him, but that's the kid that's on the verge of risking it all and throwing it all away.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and just like West Coast just mentioned, like, it's so many people, and like classrooms are kind of a microcosm of that. It was, so many kids in a school or in a classroom, that a lot of those kids, that actually need help kind of blend in. So, I don't know, that's tough.
Yeah, it's definitely tough, and what we're doing now, we're doing something. We want everyone to be trauma informed, because they go to the thing where, man, them kids is bad as shit, man. They just bad, and I get that. However, I always wanted to look at it in a different perspective, because I don't want to give anyone an excuse. However, you need to realize and understand where this person may have, came from. And what they call it now, they call it ACEs. That's traumatic incidents that they've had by the age of 3 and by the age of 5. Like the typical person may have, 2. But these kids that you see, and they may say, hey, the guys are mentally ill, or we just can't reach him, or whatever that they're saying, and have the stigma on them. That kid may have 7, 9 ACEs, and the typical 25-year-old adult, they don't have that many ACEs. Right. So it's extremely difficult. Like the article we had on the site about "Don't Give Up on Me Yet." Like that kid had an enormous amount of ACEs, by the time he was 9 years old. Right. So he could have very well been the, serial killer or depressed. I mean, who knows? He's just one of the ones that defied the odds. Right. So it's definitely tough.
Okay, Pooh, are you saying ACEs like Ace of Spades?
Yeah, ACE. That's how it's an acronym for. I have to give it back to you next time, because I can't remember what's the acronym for. But the acronym is depicting a traumatic incident, in their life.
Man, how much of it is environment based, like just playing where they grew up, whether or not there's positive role models in their life, like how much of that is external factors?
Bro, they giving that. They giving that 80%, their environment and where they're coming from, because that's where the ACEs are coming from. Like who's raising them, who's not raising them, where they're sending them to be babysat or whatnot, and you don't know what's going on.
Hell, are they even being babysat? Are they watching themselves?
Right, right, and so all of that, and man, environmental has more than to to deal with it. It has more than you know.
So that's what I was just about to ask you, Money. Like, so we have this tendency now, because Donald Trump's kind of become an easy target, right? And it's easy to say that, you hear a lot of people saying it, that, oh, this is Trump's America, and this is all because it's easy to blame the easy target. But how off base is that, Money, when you think about the fact that Donald Trump is really just a manifestation of who we are as a people and as a country, right? And he is, the fact that he was elected by the people, and stuff that's going on now has been happening before him. How off base are we to not point the lens back at society, especially the part of society, since we're talking about this part of society, the part of society who views their whiteness as a token to take lives? Like, how off base is that?
It's actually, and I'll be the first one to jump on Donald Trump. But in this scenario, at least for this point, I'm gonna back off and encourage people to back off of that a little bit. You couldn't. I think you took the words that I was gonna say right out of my mouth. Donald Trump is a symptom.
Right.
He's not the cause. He's the symptom. He's the result of. He's a manifestation of a cataclysm of an event. Now, I feel like the power of the pulpit of the President of the United States is still a very powerful message board, right? So, like, I do agree that he helps to encourage the behavior, but he's just a symptom of the behavior. He's not the cause of the behavior. This has been happening for a long time. We know the statistics. If you're not familiar, homegrown terrorists, domestic terrorism is what they call it. People that are just hateful, and want to hurt other people for whatever reason. Typically, they have the same MO of serial killers and things like that. They're typically white Caucasian males of a certain age range, and they've been nationalized or whatever the case may be. But that goes back farther than this president. That is you're right. Donald Trump is just a manifestation of the country. These shootings are just a manifestation of the country. This same type of thing has been around for a long time. It's been around since 3,000 people in a town could get together and lynch black folks in the middle of the street. This type of stuff has been around.
And take pictures for the newspaper while doing it.
And take pictures of exactly. Yeah. This type of stuff has been around for a long time. Right. I think one of the key differences is now there's social media, and there's so much access to so much information, and these same sick individuals have so much access to weaponry, and so everyone talks about mental health, and I think there's definitely a sentiment of mental health, but the real issue, dude, is this white nationalism, dude. That's the real, all these people have all these crazy reasons, like they're coming for this or people are coming for that, or I just hate people, and a lot of that's like Thomas just said, man, the pathology and sociology of a person from when they are young, it means a lot. So I don't pretend to be smart enough to know how to solve it, but I mean, you want to feel safe when you go to Walmart. I mean, you want to feel safe anywhere, but you damn sure want to feel safe if you go to the mall, you go to Walmart, you go to a basketball game, like whatever. You want to feel safe when you take your kids to go watch a movie and it's just, this stuff is so sad, and we just have to think of ways that we can, better protect ourselves and still have a way to fight for our freedoms. I don't think it's fair to just say, man, we just gotta stay in the house all the time. That's the only safe place.
Right.
I just, I don't know. I don't want to ramble on, but
yeah, it's difficult, man. Like, and then like I mentioned easy targets. Like it's like, and we've talked about this before in inner cities. Be that L.A. or Chicago or South Bronx, wherever you pick one. But again, those are easy targets. Like until we start focusing on the communities that are producing these monsters, this is going to continue to happen, and it's gonna multiply. And one thing West Coast said that just stood out to me is like our talking points have got to like stop picking sides, because if we immediately jump to picking sides, then there's no dialogue that can be had if you've already dug your feet into the ground and refused to budge.
Right.
You've already doomed the conversation. And everybody can't fight the same fight. I get that. But at some point, we can't have it both ways. We can't complain about or be terrified about people being killed for existing and not want to take action to fix it. We just want to observe it and talk shit about it, basically.
Bury our head in the sand.
Right. And that's everybody. But it's scary as hell. And again, man, like until like the same people that scream out, "What about Chicago?" are the same people that need to be looking at their own communities.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. But we're gonna take a break really quick, and we are going to jump into some listener questions when we get back. So we'll be right back with you.
Hey, Siri.
Hey, how may I help you?
Play the Relationship Status Podcast.
Playing the Relationship Status Podcast.
I would ask him, like, what are you doing? Where are you going with this? What are you trying? And he really didn't have, like, a real answer.
Okay.
So I didn't feel like we were going to be compatible later on down the line.
I think that goes back to something I've often heard and think myself, that men date women thinking they're never going to change, and women date men
thinking that they are.
Thinking that they can change them.
Relationship Status. New episode every Monday at 12 noon on Defy Life Network.
Welcome back. This is episode 119 of the Defy Life Podcast. That was our homies at the Relationship Status Podcast. Definitely check out CL, Neek, and Yusuf discussing all things relationships. Guys, we left off. We're wrapping up our news tidbits, and we're going to get into some listener questions. So, our first question, and again, shout out to our listeners, man, because y'all provide these dope-ass questions every week. So, this is actually from a guy that I know, Mike from Winston-Salem. Shout out to you, Mike. Damn good question. He was, me and him were actually in a conversation about, talking about this being Vince Carter's last year. He announced that he's retiring after this year, his final year with the Atlanta Hawks. And so he asked me, he's like, who's the best over 40 athlete ever? Money, you first. Who's the best old dude athlete?
Man, I'm so glad you asked me first because all my options are open. But when I got the story about Vince re-signing with Atlanta for another year, I was like, man, ain't Vince like 42?
Right.
And dude, he's still in the league.
Yeah,
like,
still productive.
Yeah, and that's crazy to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, like, man, like, so, and it's not like he's over 40, and it's not like he's been a scrub. His like Vince Carter is a perennial all-star. He's it's Vince Carter. So I think Tom Brady's what, he's 39 or 40.
Tom Brady's he turned 42 this weekend.
I was gonna say I think he's so it'd have to, for me, since they're still playing and they're both over 40 and I love them both. I'm gonna have to go with. It's easy. I guess it's easy to pick Tom Brady, and I relate to Vince Carter more. So I'm gonna say Vince Carter.
Yeah, can't go wrong either way. West Coast, what say you? You best old man baller.
Man. So I interpreted this question two different ways. One was the best, and one was my favorite.
Okay.
Because they're the best to me.
Gotcha.
Either way, I ended up with three answers. Two are obvious Bay answers. The first one is Barry Bonds.
All right.
Yeah. At age 40, he set the Major League Baseball record for walks and on-base percentage. And that was 3 years removed from breaking the home run record.
Right.
So there's one. The second one would be Jerry Rice, who at age 40 still had 95 catches and 1,142 yards.
Crazy.
And with two of the fantasy beasts on here, like you already know, that's a quality receiver right there. But if I have to say the best is Bernard Hopkins to me.
Oh, wow. Damn good one. Yeah.
Like, B-Hop won a championship at 51.
Right.
He's still fighting. Like, they didn't look good in his last fight, but he's still fighting. Right. You know what I'm saying? B-Hop is he was defying Father Time, life itself. He's defying life. He could care less. He's just out there still unifying belts at age 48 to something ridiculous like that. And we're talking light heavyweights. These are heavy hitters.
Yeah.
So B-Hop is probably the best over 40 athlete in my opinion.
All right. Yeah, y'all bringing some names I didn't even think of initially. That's a damn good one. Pooh, who your best over 40 athlete?
Come on, man. Y'all sure y'all here? No need to ask me. You know I'm going with the jizzle, man. Michael Jordan, man. You know, what was he? 40, 41, 42 with the Wizards. Mm-hmm. You know, threw up, few high scoring games. I think 43 was the high. Every home game that he played with the Wizards was sold out. You know, average 20 points a game, still at elite high level, all-star games. Man, I'm going Michael.
Really good one.
Can't argue with that.
All right.
Can't argue with that at all.
I got one, and I'm just going to, just because the sport he played and his age, of course, but Gordie Howe. Gordie Howe played hockey at a high level.
For a long time.
For a long time, and ultimately retired at the age of 52. Like, that's crazy.
Long time.
That is crazy.
No wonder they call him Mr. Hockey, because, shit, he's been there since the entire existence of the league. But shout out to our hockey brethren, Al, who don't get to talk hockey on here. So shout out to you and Gordie Howe. So,
money too. Money is a hurricane.
Money is a hurricane.
I'm messing with hockey. with hockey.
So,
so quick shout out to Jaromir Jagr, still scoring goals.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's and I guess like Tom Brady is an obvious one.
Yeah.
But in this day and age of the NFL, they might as well put flags on quarterbacks. So I can't really give him like credit for being tough at that old age, but he's still performing at a high level.
Yes.
So, Damn good ones, man. So between all the names are named.
Shout out to Roger Federer.
Shout out to Roger Federer and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, my GOAT. But Kareem was still balling age 42, 43.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Was Floyd, wasn't he still defending the belt at 40, over 40? Or he was right at 40?
Yeah, I think he retired at 40.
Oh, he retired at 40. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was.
Yeah, but you know we're going to keep fighting.
Man.
No, Floyd done. He's not coming back.
Think you're done? You think I'll come back and fight X or fight Y?
Nah, he retired for 2 years now. He'll be a fool to come back.
Yeah, he fighting sideshow acts now.
Right.
He'll be a fool to come back, man.
Yeah. But it wouldn't shock me if he did. He'd be a fool for doing it, but it wouldn't shock me.
Yeah,
it wouldn't shock me if he did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, so when he fought McGregor, that was 2 whole years ago?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you know his birthday in May, so that was, I know it was his turn 42. 42 or 43?
40, yeah, 42 or 43. Yeah, he was.
Because they said if he and Pacquiao fight again, he'll be 44 years old.
Right.
I mean, but isn't Pacquiao about 50?
No, Pacquiao
40.
39, 40? Yeah.
He right at 40, yeah.
Yeah.
So, don't nobody want to see that shit.
Not for real. Not for real.
I don't want to see. I will watch it because it's Floyd, but I really don't want to see that shit.
Not for real. I'd rather watch 2 old dudes fight a Golden Corral over the last biscuit.
Yeah, man. So, no. Oh, man. But damn good question, Mike.
Yeah, great question.
Y'all pulled out some names I wasn't even thinking about. Our next question is from Terrance from Brooklyn. Is Brooklyn in the house? Without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
Terrance wants to know, speaking of boxing, what's your take on Anthony Joshua saying he needs to rediscover his passion before a rematch with Andy Ruiz? West Coast. Fuck wrong with Anthony Joshua, man. You think he got to rediscover his passion before he go get his belt back? What you think about that?
It's been happening to the heavyweights. Like, Tyson Fury got all depressed and weird after he won a belt.
Right.
But he came back. He found his passion again. But for fighters in particular, I think it's a crushing loss is harder to take in fighting than any other sport. Right. Once, like, the biggest and clearest example is Ronda Rousey.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like, Ronda got kicked in the face.
Yeah.
And then Amanda Nunes beat the shit out of her.
Right.
And now she's a WWE champ. Like, she had to rediscover whatever it is. Like, and she discovered she liked the Hollywood, like she liked the stardom more than getting stole on a bunch.
Yeah.
So, but for fighters, it takes that one crushing defeat.
Yep.
And you find that most of them, like the vast majority of them, are never the same.
Right. And if they are, it takes a while. Shit, look at George Foreman.
It takes him a long... George Foreman. Like, there's another plus 40 guy. George Foreman got knocked down one time, never sat down again in a corner.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but he was the exception to the rule.
Right.
Most of the people get knocked out, they're done now. Like, they start reevaluating their life. Like, it only takes one good, clean, I got my ass whooped before you like, wait, what I'm doing with my life?
Like I picked the wrong career?
Right. Like I got to, what's my fallback options?
Right.
Because after Tarver had knocked out Roy that time, he was done after that, man. I was like, Roy. He was like, yo, that's Roy.
Yeah, we watched that fight together, didn't we, Pooh? Out at whatever place that was, some restaurant.
We was all
hyped to see that fight. Roy got busted.
He ran into the. It was like Roy was charging him, and Roy was down. I was like, yo, what happened?
Like Roy.
Yeah, like I feel like honestly, if Ruiz if he defends that belt, then I think that'll give Joshua maybe a little more fire.
Right.
but he don't want no parts of Deontay, and he don't want no parts of Tyson. So,
yeah.
Like, if you don't discover some fire, you get no more belts.
Yeah, and then that's the tough thing for like box. Like most dudes don't choose to go into boxing. You know what I'm saying? Like most dudes box because that's the only thing they really good at. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like, and so I can understand like by the time you 30, you've been getting your head and your face punched in for 20 years, and it's tough to keep that motivation to keep getting hit in the face. You know, and especially when, like you said, you suffer that big loss, that first loss, like especially as a champion, there's this aura of invincibility, especially with boxers and fighters, like you mentioned, where a lot of times they've won before they even got in the ring.
Man, I told you last time I seen a picture of Mike Tyson looking at somebody, and I was intimidated.
Right? Yeah, but once that goes away, you start to question yourself and your identity. Because I always say this about boxing, and which is why I love boxing so much. It's the purest form of competition. There's no buffers, there's no balls, there's no yard markers, there's no goal, no hoop, nothing. It's just you and another dude trying to hit each other in the face or not get hit in the face. So there's a lot that goes into that, and especially if you're not fully committed. So once you get knocked out and you suffer a bad loss, you don't have that aura of invincibility, and you start to question yourself and your identity, it's tough to come back from. So I get it. I've never been a big Anthony Joshua fan anyway, but for the sake of boxing, I hope he regains it, and I want to see him and Wilder fight. So it'll be entertaining at least.
I don't think so. I think that's a good old-fashioned Deontay whooping that ass.
Well, I ain't say it'll be a good fight. I just think it'll be entertaining. So,
fair enough.
Yeah, I do think Wilder would beat the shit out of him. But I think like the lead up to it and the promotion and the way Wilder would handle him would all be entertaining. Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I don't think it'll be a good fight or a close fight.
Wilder's already beat him once. Like when he lost the fight to Ruiz, he said, well, I was hoping it would have been, with Wilder or Fury, I would have got my first loss. I was like, what? Who says that? Who says that?
That's a take a knee. That's a solid 6. That's an MGK for you.
Yeah, right.
He's already lost. Like he can't beat those guys. It's in his head. Yeah.
I mean, he is British, so it's crazy.
And he is not Lennox Lewis.
He's not Lennox Lewis, right? Yeah. Well, I don't know. We'll see if he ever regains it. But damn good question, Terrance. We'll have to follow up with you if he ever regains his passion and that rematch happens, or if he gets his belts back. We'll follow up with Terrance. But y'all keep sending us these questions, man. We highly appreciate it. If you got something you want to get answered on the show, or if you want to address something, or if you just disagree with something we say, hit us up. You can find us on social media at Defy Life on all platforms, or you can email us directly at info@godefylife.com. So, before we roll into trivia, I just want to talk some NBA really quick. I didn't want to talk any NFL because we're going to preview it next week, so we're going to talk about all that stuff. So, a couple questions for the NBA. Pooh, you first. With so many names, and big stars pulling out of the FIBA World Championships for the U.S. team, could this be the weakest roster that the U.S. has sent to the World Cup or the Olympics, international play since professionals were allowed to play?
Yeah, I could pretty much say that because, man, guys are pulling out left and right, and the ones that's not pulling out injured. So, like, I can't even think. I don't even know who's on the roster anymore. Even the young guys that's supposed to be gung ho to go over there and play pulling out, because Zai pulled out too, didn't he? Did Zion pull?
Yeah. Anthony Davis is pulled out, James Harden, Dame, Kevin Love, Bradley Beal, C.J. McCollum, Tobias Harris, J.J. Redick, they've all officially withdrawn their names. And then Devin Booker did today as well. So the names currently in camp, potentially to be on this roster. Good God. Bam Adebayo, Harrison Barnes.
Shout out to High Point.
Right. Harrison Barnes, Jaylen Brown, Kyle Kuzma, Brooke Lopez, Kyle Lowry, Chris Middleton, Donovan Mitchell, Mason Plumlee, Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum, P.J. Tucker, Miles Turner, Kemba Walker, and Thaddeus Young.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, while they may still be easily the most talented roster in the World Cup, right?
In the world,
it damn sure ain't the dream team.
Wow. I mean, I guess it's losing its luster, man, because when those guys jump back out there, those big guys committed, and we're gonna go over here and do this. We Coach K's gonna coach them, and it was this. There was just everybody was out there fighting for the quote unquote land of the free, home of the brave. So they wanted to go out there and represent, but it's lost its luster.
Yeah.
These young guys, I don't know if they feel the same way.
Yeah, and I think even though Popovich is the coach now, I think there's a different feeling of being coached by Coach K because those guys don't have access to Coach K like that. They see Pop, every 3 days and three nights a week. They see Pop all the time, as great as he is. And then also, I think we're just in a transition point where like the huge names are kind of like they won 3 medals already. Their bodies are wearing down. They're closer to the end of their careers. When you look, or they have retired. You look at the LeBrons, the Dwayne Wades, Carmelos, those kind of guys who were big name. Kevin Durant, injured. You look at those guys who are now getting closer to the end of their careers, and it's time for a new batch. But a lot of those guys are international players.
Right.
So you look at the Joker, who's playing for Serbia. You look at Giannis, who's playing for Greece. So I just think we're in like a transition mode. There's just this gap, this dearth of talent right now that we just got to wait for, like you said, for Zion for the Olympics. Maybe he'll say, okay, the Olympics is big enough, I'll do it.
Yeah, I mean, the most telling thing to me is that Coach Popovich, there are no San Antonio Spurs.
Right, and there's 4 Boston Celtics.
4 Celtics, no Spurs.
All right.
But the superstars they're choosing to try and get an NBA title because the superstars are either old enough now where they don't want that wear and tear on their body. LeBron, Steph vacationing, I guess. Like at this point, he should probably take one. He's gonna need to rest up for the season. It's gonna be long.
All right.
But it's still a talent-rich team. Like I could still win with them in 2K. That's all I'm saying.
Right. Yeah. And
this is a really talented roster.
Yeah, it's talent.
It's a talent-rich team.
Right. But the key to the long-term success of the NBA players on rosters is they're so much more talented than the rest of the world usually that their lack of cohesion doesn't matter. Like I think while this team is still absolutely the most talented team in the world, I don't know if the gap is big enough to like guarantee blowouts every night. I think they may get some scares.
I mean, we was getting scares from Spain was giving us scares when the Gasol brothers were playing. Argentina was giving us scares when Manu was playing. Like there's always going to be the problem is that the league they got 2 international, and they got good international.
Right.
So it's kind of a testament to the NBA and what they've done in their vision to expand to the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
That Team USA has people sitting there going, them? What do you mean them?
Right.
You know, when PJ Tucker is your elder statesman.
Right.
You know, followed by what? Kyle Lowry, 34 and 33, and then everybody else is 22. That's what it looked like.
Yeah, and even they acknowledged, like Kyle Kuzma was like, I ain't supposed to be here. He even knows he's supposed to be there. But, like,
Kyle, like, I guess they couldn't get Klay Thompson or something.
Yeah.
I guess he was hurt.
Yeah. And I think, I think a lot of the, now that the Warriors, like, juggernaut is not as sure as it once was, and there's so many, like, duos spread across the league now. I think a lot of those guys have kind of gotten together like, look, man, we in this. We need to win a ring, not a medal. So now that the talent's more dispersed, I think you're seeing a lot of those guys kind of team up in their decisions, and it's affecting the world team.
Yeah, they probably had. I mean, in their defense, I'm hoping that these duos are all around the league working together, working out together.
Right.
Know? I mean, trying to take this year of parity they've got.
Yeah.
And actually do something with it. Like, you know what? We got an actual chance. Like, KD broke, Klay broke. Like, we got an opportunity here.
All right.
So hopefully that's what's actually going on, and they're not just pulling out just because they don't like the luster of playing for Team USA. You know what I mean?
No. Yeah, because I would think that – I think if AD were still in New Orleans, I think he'd be playing.
I do, too.
I can see that.
I do, too. But he lives in LA now, so, I mean, there's parties to go to.
All right.
I don't know why this crop of rookies isn't playing, really, like, but, you know.
I mean, they got G League and everything else to go through. Like, the league they've expanded so the league secretly has done a really good job of expanding.
The top 12 or 13, those guys are in the G League.
No, they're not. But they also don't know their teammates. They also, you know what I mean? I'm pretty sure that they were probably coached up by their coaches. Like, I can't imagine that Zion didn't speak to Coach K.
Right.
And I can't imagine that Coach K didn't say, I mean, you should probably figure out who your new team is.
Right. And, the rookies, I mean, they just got through summer league, and, like, they haven't really – and you look at Zion. Like, you look at summer league, he was at least 20 pounds overweight just because he ain't really had a chance to, like, be a basketball player in the last 6 months.
To get in shape. Like, he's a superstar. He's something else right now.
Right. And so, so that's tough for, like, rookies to immediately – I mean, it's a timing thing, It just happens to be the year that it's the World Cup. But, it'd be tough for these rookies to step right out of the draft circuit and, meeting with teams and eating good and then going into summer league and now have to go into this. Like, that'd be tough.
That's real.
But I think it's easy to say Kemba Walker is easily the best player on this team.
Oh, I would agree.
Easily, without question.
Yeah.
I saw that as soon as I saw the roster.
When you and then we got a couple of budding stars. And
that's what I say. Maybe on Tuesday it'll be Jason Tatum. One Tuesday every 3 weeks it'll be Jason Tatum.
Right. You got Kyle the foul out Lowry.
Chris Middleton.
He is a champion.
Yeah, I like Middleton.
I like Middleton a lot. Like I do. I also think Donovan Mitchell's a stud. Like
I forgot about Mitch, but
Mitch is really good.
But I mean, they got even looking at the team, this looked like a Popovich team for real.
It does.
Like this looked like Coach K had superstar teams, which is what Duke gets.
Right.
This looked like a Coach Popovich team, like PJ Tucker and Thaddeus Young.
Mm-hmm.
Word.
They glue guys. They're glue guys.
They are glue guys, and PJ and Thaddeus gonna give you defense all day.
Yeah. I like the fact that they put somebody like PJ on that roster.
Me too.
That's obviously a Popovich choice. Like,
and Bam and Adebayo.
And Bam.
Yeah, I like that Bam out there too. Like that's like that. I'm not mad at this team. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not mad at this team at all.
Yeah,
and then think about what it's gonna do for the confidence of guys like a Bam and a PJ. Well, not necessarily a PJ Tucker because he's been around for a minute, but Bam, he's young, and Tatum's young, and Brown's young, and
Brown,
you know Donovan Mitchell still as good as he is, he's still young.
Plumlee,
So I actually think we may see a little uptick in these guys coming NBA season.
Yeah. Plus, if we're talking like this, then we can't be the only talking heads talking like this. So they've got to hear and go in with an extra chip on their shoulder. Like they don't think we could win.
Yeah,
they think we weak. They think we can't. Like, come on, like show me.
This may be a humongous breakout season for Kyle Kuzma instead of just a breakout season. This could be the thing that. Well, he's gonna have a lot more space too, but this could be the thing that, hey, watch out for Kyle Kuzma.
Right, or like a Miles Turner. Miles Turner is probably the one that of all of the names on this list, I was like, Miles, really? Miles Turner, good. I know, and
Miles
that's what I'm saying. Like now the world will get to see, and he'll get
but most people don't know how good he is. Miles Turner is a problem.
Yeah, Miles Turner. Yeah. Nice.
And as long as he continues it, then he's absolutely going to be, and he gets a world stage.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm looking forward to some of the post-game interviews where they're talking to people in their languages, and they're just like, Miles Turner.
But it's definitely gonna be interesting. Like at some point, as fun as it is to see, the top 8 players in the league on the same team, it can be a little redundant to a certain degree because how often can you see these dudes dunking on Spaniards and winning by 60, without losing interest. So it'll be good to see some new faces.
I mean, it'll never get old to watch Vince Carter jump over a Frenchman.
That shit will never get old. It will never get old to blow out Nigeria by 49 points by halftime. That shit will never get old to me.
But to actually sit and watch every game, do y'all do that? Like every game throughout the process?
No, I don't watch every game. Yeah, but I watch most of them.
Yeah, so I watch a bunch of them.
Like I will make it a point to watch this team because I'm interested in to see how they, how good they are. I want to see that. Like I already know KD and LeBron and
we know
Steph
them already.
Yeah, so I'm interested in seeing how good this team can be.
Because there was a time when we were saying this about the KD and LeBron and Melo and all of them. Like, there was a time where people were just like, is this really a good team? Like, are these guys gonna? And they went out and murdered. Like, I'm hoping that this team just goes out and does what we all expect them to do and be better than everybody else, and then randomly get challenged by an international power who's got an NBA superstar on their team.
Yeah.
Now, what if they go out there and get their ass kicked?
I'm laughing directly. I want to find them in their face and laugh at them directly.
Well, I would give them. I'm with you. I would laugh, but I would, if they get their ass kicked one game but they still win the gold, I'll give them their respect.
Oh, they gotta win the gold. They gotta win the gold. They gotta win the gold.
They gotta win the gold. Like this is still Team USA.
Right.
They gotta win the gold.
And you still in the best league in the world. Like
right.
True that.
Like this is like being a fan of Team USA is. You could be as unrealistic as you want to. It's like being a horrible Cowboy fan.
Now,
be as unrealistic as you absolutely like. Look. All we need is.
Now, Pooh, for you, I'm gonna ask all three of y'all this question: this team's acceptable margin of victory.
Man, I'm gonna be honest with you, and I'm skeptical. I am, and I know these guys are. I agree with you. I know these guys are, even though they're not all household names, they're still loaded. Definitely the most talented roster, in the world. But man, if these guys they got a lot of chemistry and cohesiveness together, and they've been together for a while. Those overseas teams. I'm a little skeptical, man. I think they may, lose a few, one or two games. I really am. Yeah,
wow.
I can remember that year. Remember that year that it was so close, man? The guys was winning by 8 points and 9 points and 13.
Yeah, I remember. And we were over here losing our minds. That's why I'm asking you, what's the acceptable margin of victory? And
bro, I mean, I think we're just gonna be happy just for them to win, really, because it's not any like bona fide superstars out there. So I think we're just gonna be happy that they come home with the dub, with the jury. I mean, that's what I'm thinking.
All right. Jay, what's the acceptable margin of victory?
I think that was you, Jay.
That was you, Jay.
Oh, y'all hear me?
Did we lose Jay? Oh,
Mike gotta lose the West Coast.
Well, West Coast, what's your acceptable margin of victory? Okay. Then West Coast, I'm gonna throw that same question your way. Average accepted margin of victory.
All right, I'm gonna go with 10. I feel like it's gonna be some 4-point victories. I feel like it's gonna be a couple of 16-point victories, but 10 sounds about. I feel like that's the average number.
Lucky and 10, boy, y'all boys lowballing. All right, Jay, what you say? Average accepted margin of victory before people over here start going crazy.
Right. So I think Greg Popovich is the biggest star on this team, and I think he's going to be the biggest difference maker. So with that, I think, like West Coast said, this is his kind of team. I think if it ain't 20 points, I'm going to be questioning what the fuck Pop is doing. So I ain't saying every game's going to be a margin of 20, but those games that are not blowouts, I'm going to be looking kind of sideways. So for me, to satisfy me, give me a 20-point victory.
I'm with you, Jay. I'm going 20 points also. I agree. Like, I think this team, it's still legitimate all-stars on this team. Like they should clearly still be the best team in the world. Right. I don't know about eking out a 4-point victory. It might be one time where they eke out a 4-point victory, but they should be blowing Lithuania away, man. Like
should be lucky, bro. Be lucky to get out of there alive.
Yeah, LeBron and them took the bronze ones, didn't they?
Well, yeah, I think.
Wasn't that the first or second year?
Yeah,
they took the bronze one.
Yeah, they did. That's why they started, because a lot of players were bowing out and not playing, and so they kind of refocused. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I think this team is going to have the pride to bring home the gold.
Right. Yeah.
I think the world's caught up. I'm not saying it is anything against their talent. I think that the world has caught up.
But I think you look at the world, like there are some great players on other teams, but it's one player. You know, like Serbia has Joker. You know, Greece has Giannis. But I think the benefit of this team that the U.S. has, I think they have enough dudes that are humble enough to not want to outshine their teammates, and to fall, and to buy in. There's not as many superstars, so I think they got enough guys who are willing to buy in and make it a complete team effort versus just trying to win on talent alone.
That makes sense. I think they also got enough that are hungry enough. Right,
yeah. Dudes who've never been on this stage before, and in usual circumstances, they never would have. So, and you got dudes who get buckets, man. Like, it ain't a dude in the world outside of the dudes who decline to play for the U.S. that can guard Kimba.
Nobody. Even the dudes who decline to play for the U.S. can't guard Kimba.
Right. And, you got legit shooters and Kuzma and Lopez and Middleton. And
then there's always a Donovan Mitchell.
And a Donovan, and that's what I'm saying. And you got athletes like Mitchell and Bam. So it's
Miles Turner.
Yeah,
like
Miles
it's gonna be.
Turner.
Hey, I'm telling. Compared to the dudes from Lithuania, Bam and Miles Turner gonna feel like Shaq. Like it's just,
right.
except Miles Turner got Jay and can hit the tray ball.
Yeah.
Like
So,
I think it's gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah, and I think if they do have some squeak outs, it'll be early in the process.
Yeah, that's fair. When the team is still coming together, that makes sense.
Right. But either way, if they don't win gold, we laughing at them.
Yeah, I'm laughing directly.
Most definitely.
Directly. Like, where's the All-Star game this year? I'll go just to laugh.
Right.
And y'all know I'm rooting hard for my guy Kimba to bring home the gold because last time he ain't make the cut. He got invited. He ain't make the cut. So I'm rooting extra hard for this team.
Right.
That makes sense.
Well, speaking of guys who didn't make the cut lately, question: what's the best fit for Carmelo Anthony right now?
Ooh.
Money.
I was gonna say who you starting with? Me? Oh God, man. He couldn't make it in Houston. He couldn't make it in OKC. I know he wants to play.
Or is it just whoever gives him a shot?
I'm gonna just say whoever gives Melo a shot, man. I'm not sure how much interest the Lakers really have in him. I know that's him and LeBron's dream to finally get together and play together for a season, or two. So maybe, and LeBron has enough organizational pull to make that happen and keep whatever issues Melo has kind of at bay. Like, I feel like even though James Harden has a lot of influence in Houston, I feel like James Harden didn't really give a fuck if Melo was there or not. Like, I felt like he was like, oh, well, shit, whatever.
Well, what can LeBron do about the fact the biggest issue about Carmelo is he can't play anymore? That's a big issue to overcome.
Shout out to regular Scott. Shots fired.
Yeah, LeBron can't do much about that, but I mean, he can come in and you come in when with the second unit and get a couple buckets and not play no D and then go sit down again. Right. If he expects to do more than that for any team, he's done.
Right.
That's just my. Who you laughing at me?
Yeah, he's done.
Hey, if he expect to come in, if he expect to come to Charlotte, y'all know how horrible we are. If he expect to come to Charlotte and do more than come in for a couple minutes, and get a couple buckets and not play no D, it's not gonna happen. He's out. He's done.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like when we say fit, like, he's not the kind of veteran you bring onto a young team for leadership, like a Vince Carter. And he's really not the kind of guy you bring onto a championship team to put you over the top, because does he put you over the top? So it's going to be limited. I don't know. Pooh, what do you think are the best options, the best fit for Carmelo? Or is it just whoever gives him a shot?
Nah, I would love to see him in the Bay out there with Golden State.
Oh, wow.
I would like to see him out there. Get him out there in that space and that nice offensive set and scheme Steve Kerr has. He can. I think he still be able to hit some shots and get bench smashes and backdoor.
We said the best fit, man.
I think that's the best fit.
Not playing defense is not negotiable in the Bay.
I think that.
He could break down their whole defensive structure and not get no minutes.
Right,
man. I think that's the best fit. That's my take on it. I think that's the best fit.
But if that happens, I think my next question would be, how long before Draymond punched Carmelo in the face?
What's today?
Dude, he gonna mess up every defensive rotation. There's gonna be warriors everywhere.
Draymond, he gonna choke Carmelo in the first 2 weeks.
I mean, he say he buying in. That's what he said. That's what he said on First Take.
Yeah,
he buying in.
Man, like I say this all the time, right? What you like, at some point you are who you are, especially in the NBA. But like athletes are who they are. You've been some your whole life. You don't just change because you say it. Like Tim Tebow wanted to find a new throwing motion, and he did. Up until the game started happening, and you go back to what you really are, right? It's like you can't change that. Yeah, man. Draymond be done had his way with Carmelo. He'd be out of there in 2 weeks. I don't know. West Coast, what your best fit for Melo?
Based solely on the buy-in principle.
Mm-hmm.
San Antonio.
Oh
wow. Another
so
place.
Then
another
my
place
next question would be, if how long is it before Popovich punches Carmelo in the face?
But he said no.
It'll be like next Tuesday.
If
he said solely based on the buy-in. Yeah,
solely based on the buy-in.
Now, if he could channel Olympic Melo, that's the
then Olympic Melo. I want to see Olympic Melo in the Bay. I'm with Poole.
Right. Yeah, I want to see Olympic Melo with
I want to see him in the Bay because that'll change a lot of the KD is gone talk. But he I don't know that we can even question that we're going to see Olympic Melo again.
Right. Yeah, but that's
that's the San Antonio is the answer.
Yeah. And that's the biggest microcosm of Carmelo is Olympic Melo. Like the dichotomy between Olympic Melo, right? But that's Carmelo in a nutshell, right? The fact that the Olympics are for a couple of weeks, and so you ain't gotta give your all for that long, and you don't have to be the leader. There's no pressure. There's a bunch of other dudes around you who can take on leadership roles. All I got to do is get buckets and give all my energy for 2 weeks.
Yeah, but ironically, he was the leader. That was what made it so funny.
And that's what I'm saying. By default, he becomes the leader, but he can't do that over the long haul. That's just not who he is over a span of 82 games. Eventually,
which is why
the real Melo
he needs to go to San Antonio.
Mm-hmm. Who's
so that coach
that could work.
So that coach can tell him, no, you're just not playing today.
Right.
That could work. I can see that.
Yeah. And I mean, it would definitely provide the structure needed.
Mm-hmm. Like that's all he's missing a Belichickian.
Right.
Yeah, he's missing something along those lines.
Yeah.
And he didn't have to use it in Syracuse.
Yeah.
Because he got to hide in the Boeheim 2-3 zone.
Mm-hmm. So
he never had to play defense. But if you're a Spur, or in this case, even like Pooh said, if you're a Warrior, you got to play defense.
Mm-hmm. That's
you have to play D.
No, that's what Money said. Pooh said he'd go to Golden State and not play no defense.
Well, yeah, that's fair.
How about in Brooklyn?
Bro, I said nothing about not playing D.
That's true, too. That was all Money who said that he was going to come in, get a couple buckets, not play no defense,
right,
and then sit back on the bench.
Well, how about in Brooklyn on a 1-year deal till KD gets back?
I don't like that. He can't play. He can't coexist with Kyrie's ego.
Nobody can do that.
No.
Nobody can coexist with Kyrie's ego. So bring Melo in.
I think that could work.
Well, who is Brooklyn's coach?
It depends on the young kid. It depends on how much they change their philosophy because Brooklyn was so young. They did a lot of space and pace, run and gun after they realized that they had D'Lo, LeVert, Joe Harris, bunch of and the other guard they would bring off the bench that play like a starter. They a lot of the games they would play 4 guards and they would just shoot. They would just come down the court and shoot. When they realized they could win like that, they started doing so. That kind of feeds into, space. Melo's more of an isolation guy, but I think he could work in pace and space. If they can hide him defensively, and since D'Lo's gone, and Durant's hurt, and they got rid of another guy or two. I think that might work. They can still come down, shoot a lot, space it out, shoot a lot. Their defensive rotations they're sound. They got Gerald in the back that can clean up some of those mistakes. That could work because they'd be so deficient, and they need someone that can space it out and shoot it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you know me, how I feel about Melo. That shit ain't gonna work nowhere, but it'd be interesting.
So Melo's not your favorite player. Let me get that clear.
No.
Okay, I was just making sure I understood.
Yeah. You're very perceptive, sir.
Yeah, thanks. I've been working on it.
Oh man, Pooh, you ready to hit us over the head with some trivia, man?
No doubt, man. No doubt.
Let's hear you read this calculus equation too.
Boy, you sent me that trivia last week, and I had to. Boy, I was like, "Hey, what?"
Man, y'all know.
Money had to pull out Rosetta Stone to read that shit.
Yeah, I was like,
that's crucial.
Well, I was like,
y'all crazy.
I was like, well, I'm a pretty smart guy, but I don't even understand how he's wording this. Like,
man, it's totally simple. Totally simple, man. Totally simple. Totally.
I was like, man, we got to wait for him to get back to do this shit. I don't know what this says.
Totally simple. All right, man.
Let's hear it.
That's what we're doing. All right, we're gonna go around round robin method the same way I did last time for you to garner your points up, and it's gonna be NFL MVPs since 2000. Right.
Do we have to text anything?
Not now.
Okay. Oh,
only when we get to the Jeopardy round.
Oh Lord. Okay.
Not now. You're just going to earn points now. All right, and they equal. They equal 20 points each. All right.
Poodoo trivia. You got to make sure you paid your phone bill.
Mm-hmm. I had to just go get
make sure
off the charger.
Regular. He got to give a disclaimer. Regular text rate supply, like all kind of stuff.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead. So it's 20 points each, right? And you give me 10 points extra if you can give me the year. So you got that?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So it's no. What happened?
You said the NFL MVP since when?
2000. Okay. 2000 to 2018. Yeah. So, that's how we'll run it. There's no need to go to the Jeopardy rounds yet, unless y'all want to know the topics. Just because. All right. Let me pull up. Let me pull my list up. I had to. All right. Here we go. Nah, that ain't it. Where did I put my list, yo?
I don't know.
Tripping.
It's right there. It's over on the left.
It's over there. It's over there by your body bag book.
It's right next to that book.
Body bag book. Go ahead, man.
One of the best shows ever.
Right.
Hold on, y'all. Don't trip for a second. What happened to my list? I know, I'm tripping.
Did you email it to me?
I did, but I had to go back and save it because it was acting crazy. All right.
Did you leave it off over by Simba couch?
Oh. When I was watching the joint they were doing.
You was watching the ciphers?
Nah, I know. I'll put it in my photos. All right. All right, here we go. Put in my photos. So, I don't know who won what. Who won what?
I hosted, so who won?
Okay. Jay.
I think Al won.
I feel like Al won.
Al did win, yeah.
I think Al won.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna go with,
West Coast was second, Money was third.
Yeah, I was going
Money
West
missed
Coast.
the first question.
Nah, I think I was second.
No, you missed the first one.
Oh, yeah, because it was that. Oh, yeah, I said Kevin Garnett.
Right.
Yeah.
I still can't believe that shit was wrong.
All right, so I'm going to go with West Coast. I'm gonna go with money. Then I'm gonna go with Jay. Since
got to.
Yeah, since started just put you last money just for going out like that first round. Just know that
I just so happen to be an expert in NFL MVPs.
It's just no room for that, man.
Stop. Man, you couldn't have told me Kevin Garnett ain't averaged 25 at least one time in all them years.
No, we did tell you.
I was so confident.
Yeah, you were. Off the bat. Kevin Garnett.
There's no room for that. All right.
It was like, he ain't on the list. I was like, what?
All right, West Coast, who you got?
You said up to 2018?
Yeah, 2018.
Madden cover boy Patrick Mahomes in 2018.
Okay. West Coast, that was the gimme. That was 30. Money.
Shit, I'm a Panthers fan. 2015 Cameron Gerald Newton.
Okay. That's money. 30. Jay.
2016, Matt Ryan.
2016. Wow. Matt Ryan. Back on you, West Coast.
2017, the ageless wonder Tom Brady.
Back on you, money.
We lost the NFC Championship in 2005 to Seattle because of a guy named Sean Alexander.
That's what's up. 30 for you, money. Jay.
I remember this because me, Keon, and V's was watching the Super Bowl this year together, and V's made that dip. So give me Marshall Faulk in 2000.
Marshall Faulk, 2000. Hey, that's what it is.
I know who won it the next year.
Hey, y'all impressing me though. All right, West Coast. Got 2 more rounds of this. West Coast.
I mean, he was the last Raider in 2002. It was Rich Gannon.
Okay. Money.
The year after Marshall Faulk won, Kurt Warner won. 2001.
2001. What it is, y'all smoking out here.
All right, so hopefully I get extra points for this because Steve McNair and Peyton Manning tied in 2003.
They did.
Yeah.
Does he get extra points for this?
Man, I just hit the jackpot.
But it's still only 30, though. It was a heck of a try, though. Because if I would have noticed that earlier, that definitely would have been, the daily double.
And one of them dead. Man, come on.
Man, go ahead, man.
Wow. I'm for real, man.
You don't get the posthumous 20?
Ain't none of these other ones the late great. That man, the late great MVP. That's all right.
Hey, last round. They're like y'all pretty much spotless though. All right, West Coast.
What's left?
I'm having a tough time remembering what's left.
I know, that's what I'm thinking too. You know what? In 2010, I'm naming him again. The ageless wonder Tom Brady.
Okay.
Hey, is 2016 taken?
Yeah, I took that one.
Somebody took that?
Yeah.
What about 2010?
I just named
it.
He
just said 2010.
Oh, my bad. Fuck. Who won after Brady?
10, 9, 8, 7.
2012, 6. Adrian Peterson.
2012, Adrian Peterson. Solid.
That's the last Madden I played.
The last one, Jay. See if you can keep it up. The 30s.
So
I'm impressed.
So the year after Sean Alexander won and set all the touchdown records, a man by the name of LaDainian Tomlinson broke all them damn records.
Easy, yeah. That was easy. That was a layup. I actually should have went with that one. I didn't remember who was left. That's a good one though, Jay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's solid, man. I'm impressed.
You right about wheelhouse, man.
Yeah, I'm an expert in NFL MVP.
We named all the running backs.
I can't front though. I'm totally impressed. I'm impressed. Y'all went 30, gave me year after year after year after year. I mean, of course, 18 was pretty solid, 17, but y'all was reeling them off. And what y'all associated with, that was cool. I dig it. All right, 30, 60, 90, 120. Each one of y'all 120, man. So here it goes though.
So 0-0.
Hey, 0-0 now. Right. It's the Jeopardy, man. That's what's gonna.
Oh, great.
Hey, that's what's gonna separate us, man.
Man, Money had all the answers from last week.
Hey, that's what's gonna separate Jeopardy style.
True that.
Okay. Here we go.
Explain the rules.
You wager. You send a wager. You wager what you want to wager. You know how many points? How many points?
Of my existing points?
No, I'm gonna ask you. It's gonna be, yeah, of your existing points. So I'm gonna ask you. Yeah, I'm gonna ask you. It's gonna be 3 questions. Since it's 3 of you, it's gonna be 3 questions. Okay. It's gonna be a question from NFL first round bust.
Okay.
It's going to be a question from NBA first round bust.
Okay.
And it's going to be a question
from NHL first round bust.
From Major League Baseball 16th round bust.
That's right. Newberry, South Carolina, Little League bust. We ain't got nothing but nicknames. Pee-wee. Pee-wee was supposed to be good. Pee-wee sucked.
Man, it was Nuck Nuck, bro. It was Nuck
right.
Nuck. Remember how he had just come out?
Junebug was 15 playing in the Little League, man. That kid was a bust.
Y'all.